Russia suffers $210 million collapse as Ukraine crushes 44 artillery systems. In one of the most punishing 24-hour periods of the year, Ukraine delivered a coordinated defensive strike operation that shattered Russian forces across the front, wiping out artillery, drones, armor, and logistics assets on a scale rarely seen this late in the war. The losses, measured at more than $210 million in a single day, expose a collapsing Russian offensive effort and highlight how Ukraine's intelligence, counter-battery fire, and elite units are now dictating the pace of the battlefield. And with Pokrovsk emerging as the critical pressure point, the stakes have never been higher. Now, let's go back to where it all began today. Today at 6 a.m., the scale of destruction unfolding across the front became unmistakable, as analysts confirmed that Russian forces had suffered more than $210 million in combined personnel and equipment losses over the last 24 hours alone. Nearly 4 years into the war, the numbers emerging from this single day of fighting revealed a level of attrition that now defines the operational rhythm on the ground. What followed across the front was not only a record-breaking tally of destroyed systems, but a clear indication that Ukrainian forces were executing a coordinated defensive strike campaign, one designed to deplete Russian combat strength sector by sector. By 6:15 a.m., the first assessments coming out of the General Staff placed Russian personnel casualties at approximately 980 troops removed from the fight within the previous 24 hours. These were described as permanent losses, encompassing conventional forces, mobilized personnel, and contracted fighters. The sheer volume pointed toward a day marked by sustained contact across multiple axes and continued offensive pressure by Russian formations attempting to force localized breakthroughs. This manpower loss alone represented tens of millions of dollars in training, equipment, and logistical investment erased in a single morning. Minutes later, the equipment figures from the same 24-hour window revealed where the most significant tactical damage had occurred. Ukrainian counter-battery elements had registered one of their most effective operations in recent weeks, destroying 44 Russian artillery systems. The removal of these guns was not attributed to chance. Rather, it signaled the presence of an integrated targeting chain in which reconnaissance drones, ground-based radar, and long-range precision fire worked in synchronized cycles. Analysts assessed that Ukrainian units were able to find, fix, and finish high-value Russian assets at a pace faster than Russian crews could reposition or mask their firing signatures. The density of these strikes suggested that counter-battery radars were identifying barrel flashes in near real time, relaying coordinates through hardened digital networks to HIMARS batteries and other precision launchers capable of immediate response. By 7 a.m., drone losses entered the discussion. Russian forces were reported to have lost 743 tactical-level UAVs in that same single day. These losses reflected not only the intensity of drone deployment, but also the pressure exerted by Ukrainian electronic warfare systems, which continued to degrade Russian visual reconnaissance. The UAVs destroyed belonged primarily to the small, low-cost class used to correct artillery fire and maintain battlefield awareness. Their removal forced Russian units to operate with reduced situational visibility, weakening both their strike accuracy and their ability to monitor Ukrainian maneuvers. In a landscape where drones have become the primary tool for observation, losing several hundred in a single day amounted to an operational blinding effect along several sectors. By 7:30 a.m., additional losses were confirmed. Russian forces had lost 4 more tanks, 1 armored fighting vehicle, and 2 anti-aircraft systems. While these numbers were lower than the artillery and UAV losses, they were strategically meaningful because they removed scarce platforms from already stretched Russian armored and air defense inventories. Even more significant was the destruction or capture of 124 trucks and fuel tankers, representing a massive degradation of Russian logistics. Eliminating that many vehicles in 24 hours disrupted resupply networks, delayed troop rotation, and further strained Russian units attempting to push west. On top of this, Ukrainian air defenses intercepted 14 cruise missiles, demonstrating the continued effectiveness of layered protection systems now covering key urban and military infrastructure. By 8:10 a.m., The total estimated Russian personnel losses had reached approximately 1,168,550, a number reflecting conventional troops, mobilized personnel, and contracted forces removed from the battlefield since February 2022. The long-term implications were clear. Sustaining this level of manpower depletion severely strained Russia's ability to maintain constant offensive pressure. Entire brigades had been cycled, rebuilt, and redeployed multiple times, each time with reduced effectiveness and diminishing experience levels. At 8:30 a.m., the cumulative equipment losses told an equally stark story. Russian artillery losses had risen to 34,688 systems, while tank losses had reached 11,372 vehicles. The logistical and industrial cost of replacing nearly 35,000 artillery systems alone, implying multi-billion-dollar replacement burdens, illustrated the toll that Ukrainian counter-battery operations had taken on Russian firepower. Alongside these figures, Russian UAV losses had climbed to 84,960, representing the most rapidly replenished, but also the most rapidly destroyed category of Russian equipment. Cruise missile losses reached 3,995, demonstrating both Russia's reliance on long-range strike capabilities and Ukraine's corresponding progress in intercepting them. Logistics losses remained extreme, with 68,242 vehicles and fuel tankers destroyed, abandoned, or captured. By 9 a.m., attention shifted from statistics to geography. The previous evening had seen 150 separate combat engagements reported across the front, one of the highest daily totals in recent weeks. These clashes were not evenly distributed. Fully one-third, 50 engagements, were concentrated around the Pokrovsk direction. Analysts recognized this immediately as evidence that Russian forces were attempting to force a breakthrough toward a critical logistical hub. Pokrovsk functions as a major transportation node supporting Ukrainian defensive lines stretching westward. If Russian units captured it, they could threaten deeper Ukrainian positions and interrupt resupply corridors essential for sustaining the defense. This concentration of fighting revealed the tactical logic of Russia's approach: intense pressure in a single direction designed to collapse a segment of the Ukrainian line, forcing withdrawal from adjacent sectors. But it also revealed the strategic logic of Ukraine's response. Holding Pokrovsk was assessed as vital, which is why the Ukrainian command had deployed an unusually diverse mix of forces to defend it. Regular army units operated alongside National Guard formations, special operations forces, and even personnel from the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. Their presence signaled that the defense of Pokrovsk was not a routine engagement. It was a priority defense point, a position whose loss would reshape the operational map. By 9:40 a.m., reports confirmed that despite the ferocity of the Russian assault, the Ukrainian defensive line remained intact. No breakthrough had been achieved, and although the fighting remained at a tempo described as continuous, Ukrainian units were assessed to be maintaining control of all core defensive positions. Beyond Pokrovsk, the next most active area was the Kostiantynivka direction, which saw 19 engagements within the same window. This made operational sense because Kostiantynivka is strategically linked by supply corridors and defensive structures to Pokrovsk. South of this, the Huliaipol direction registered 15 engagements, reflecting another area where Russian forces sought to apply steady pressure, but without the same concentration observed at Pokrovsk. By 10:10 a.m., attention shifted to Kupiansk, where a parallel battle was unfolding, not only on the ground, but in the information space. Recent statements from Moscow claimed that Russian forces had captured the city. However, within minutes, Ukraine's general staff publicly denied the claim, stating categorically that Kupiansk remained under the control of Ukrainian forces and was still experiencing significant Russian attacks. The reason for Moscow's premature announcement was assessed as informational rather than military. Analysts described it as an information space claim of success, intended to bolster domestic morale and provide a political talking point at a moment when battlefield progress remained limited. The rapid Ukrainian rebuttal highlighted the divergence between official narratives and operational reality. By 10:45 a.m., analysts returned to the core question raised by the events of the last 24 hours. What does it mean when Ukrainian commanders commit elite intelligence and special operations units to hold a single defensive point? It indicates that the battle for Pokrovsk is now seen as essential to controlling the wider central sector. It also illustrates the reality that every kilometer of the front is fought with expensive, high-value assets, both human and material, because the stakes attached to each location have grown significantly as the war entered its 4th year. By 11:30 a.m., the full picture of the day had come together. Russian forces had endured staggering casualties and equipment losses. Ukrainian forces had executed one of their most effective counter-battery operations in weeks. Key logistical nodes like Pokrovsk and Kupiansk remained firmly under Ukrainian control despite constant pressure. And the cumulative attrition numbers highlighted the cost Russia had borne over nearly 4 years of sustained conflict. Today's final assessment concluded that Russian forces absorbed more than $210 million in losses across personnel, artillery, armor, UAVs, logistics vehicles, and cruise missile expenditures. This figure, inserted into the nearly 4-year context of fighting, underscored the intensity of Ukraine's ongoing defensive strike framework. As Ukrainian units continued reinforcing the Pokrovsk defense and counter-battery radars scanned for new firing signatures, analysts posed the question that would define the next phase of the conflict. With losses accelerating and key sectors holding firm, how long can Russian forces sustain this level of attrition before operational momentum degrades beyond recovery windows? Share your thoughts below.